We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act but a habit. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's guest speaker session, Learning from the Best, featuring Mr. Manhar Bansal. He was the All India topper in Class 10 from the ICSE board. He joined Delhi Public School RK Puram in 2019, and this was just the beginning of his illustrious endeavors. He worked so hard to secure his places in several of the most prestigious clubs at the school, like the DEPSOC, the MUN, Law Club, and many more. He represented schools at various debates and competitions, collecting numerous allocates along the way. He was also the member of the student council and later on went on to become the head boy of the school. His accomplishments did not stop here. He cleared the common admission test, commonly known as CAT, as well as the law school admission test, LSAT, with All India rank 1. He secured AIR-2 in All India Law Entrance Test, or the AILET. He is currently studying for BA LLB Honours at the National Law School of India University, Bangalore. He likes reading realist fiction and writing poetry and blogs. Welcome, sir. Please accept our virtual token of appreciation.
Thank you very much. And I don't think I deserve to be called sir. So it would be better if you just call me Manhar. I'm just 2 years your senior. So yeah.
Okay. So now I would like to invite our respected principal, Ms. Padma Srinivasan ma'am, to say a few words.
Welcome, dear Manhar, back to school. And I'm sure you're the right person to guide your fellow students about how to progress with their studies in these semi-COVID times and how to take charge of their life, how to be a self-starter, and how to utilize their time, energy, and the intelligence that they have in a manner that they will be able to do best for themselves. And I'm sure you're going to talk about how the peer group helped you and how your parents helped you and what was the role played by your teachers in your progress. We want you to give them a comprehensive understanding of how to prepare themselves mentally, physically, and spiritually for going through this major, landmark of their life, that is class 12, how to prepare themselves for it. I'm sure you're the right person, and we are very, very proud of you, Manhar, for whatever that you have achieved, and I'm sure you're going to achieve a lot more in your life. Welcome once again.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am, for your words. Now, I would like to invite our guest speaker to interact with the audience through Q&A session conducted by Samyak and Sahana. Over to you, Samyak.
We had received an overwhelming response for registration and a lot of questions from students for this session.
We have invited the students to ask their question and interact with Mr. Bansal.
The first question is from Myra Vesh of 11S.
I am preparing for engineering, but I also want to appear for the CLAT exam. How should I go about this? Thank you.
All right, should I just start? Yeah, am I audible?
Yeah,
yes, you are.
Yeah, all right. So before answering the question, just a small correction. I think in the introduction, the moderator said that I cleared the CAT. That's a different exam. CAT, you give CAT after your graduation for an MBA. This is CLAT, which is the Common Law Admission Test for doing the 5-year law program in the national law universities across the country. So yeah, just a small correction there. And yeah, before I start answering the questions, just a few things I wanted to say. I think Padma ma'am said that I am your fellow student and I would like to be that. So it feels a little weird just passing out 6 months ago and being invited back as the guest speaker. So you can just call me Manhar. And yeah, I am your fellow student. I don't have a lot to teach you, but I can only share what I learned across the 2 years at DPS Arkapura. And yeah, so I would want all of you to take whatever I say with a grain of salt. And I'm very thankful for all the kind words. I don't think I deserve all of them, but yeah, I'll try my best to make value contributions to whatever I can during this session. So regarding this question as to if you're preparing for engineering, but you also want to prepare for CLAT, I think the first thing is I think before starting to prepare for CLAT, I think you need to take some time out, like sit with your family, sit with your teachers, figure out what you want to do. Because CLAT may just be an exam, but you also need to know why you're giving the exam in the first place, why you're taking the exam in the first place. Like you can clear CLAT, but after that, if you don't enjoy law school, then there's no point of even securing an AIR-1 or for that matter, getting into a university. So before just jumping into the preparation, you should know why you're doing something, whether you're really interested in it. Because as I see it, the sciences and the law and the liberal arts are like diametrically opposite in many ways. So if you're preparing for engineering, but you also want to take CLAT, I would suggest first you clear your priorities, see what your interests are, and then make a decision. But yeah, that's up to you. If you have made the decision, I don't think it's very difficult. CLAT is not an exam you need to sacrifice your lives for. I've been saying that all along. You just need to give your dedicated 3-4 hours every day, and you'll be fine. Like you can always enroll in a coaching institute if you want. That's not necessary. And yeah, you can do it side by side. I don't think it's that big a deal. Yeah. Let me know if like you have a follow-up question or anything, if I'm not making sense, so then I can answer accordingly.
Coming up next is a question by Varun Iyer of 11O.
You prepared for and aced the exam during such a difficult time. What was the reason behind your core strength?
All right. Before that, if the previous person could just say yes or something, like if they got the answer, I don't want like this to be just like they're reading the question and I'm answering it. So if you got what I said, if it made sense, like just say yes or no or whatever.
Yes, it made sense.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So regarding it being a difficult time. So yes, the pandemic was a very difficult time for a lot of people. And without being insensitive, I would say that in some ways it was a blessing in disguise for me, in the sense that um, I got to study at home. The commutation time and all of that was cut out, so online was a little more efficient. But in terms of what factors propelled me to persevere even during these times when we were all disconnected and we couldn't meet each other and everything was virtual, I think there were a couple of reasons. There was no one reason. I think the first reason would be, as I said, you need to know why you're doing something. So I knew that I wanted to do the law. I wanted to get into a national law university and probably the best one. So yeah, I knew that I had to work hard, irrespective of the circumstances. Secondly, I also had a very strong support system, which included my parents, who did not pressurize me at any point of time. My friends who were doing the same things, who I could talk with, who I shared similar interests with, and of course the school. Um, I think I may not be the right person to talk about competitive exams like NEET and JEE because they require a different set of hard work and all. But at least for CLAT, the school is as instrumental a part in your preparation as your actual preparation. So at no point of time did I like miss school or did not participate in the school, right? So I was always actively an active participant in all the school activities, whether it was, we had some activities during the summer vacations, whether it was going for debates, whether it was doing my duties as the head boy. So I think the school and the teachers and the atmosphere which Arkepuram provides you, like that was one of the reasons behind my strength, if you can call it that. Like it's very sad that you guys are not going into that school. Like I hope things improve and you're able to like go physically on campus if you're not already there. But once you go, you'll realize the energy in the school, the atmosphere it provides you, right? With the ecosystem, with the community, with the teachers, with all the activities. So I think, yeah, the strength comes by itself when you know why you're doing what you're doing.
I understood that. Thank you.
I would like to call upon Ronika Agnihotri of 11S to ask her question.
When did you start preparing for the CLAT exam and what was your study schedule?
All right. So I started preparing in class 11th. So I enrolled in a coaching institute, and on weekends I used to go. That's the schedule we usually follow. However, in class 11th, to be very honest, I did not pay much attention to CLAT because, as I said, it's not an exam which has like a voluminous syllabus. So in class 11th, it was mostly just, going to the classes, attending the lectures and taking the mock tests. The real preparation began in class 12th, and I still remember the day. It was the 19th of April 2020. And the reason I remember the day is because on that day, I opened my notebook and I wrote on the top of my notebook that, yes, I can. And yeah, so I remember that day, like 19th of April, I started my preparation. And I said, from today onwards, I'm going to do this. And I also believe 1 year is more than enough to crack the CLAT. So if some of your planning, if you want to and get enrolled in 11th, it's all right, but you can also start in 12th. In terms of my study schedule, so again, I have never really followed a very strict study schedule. Maybe it works for some people, it does not work for me. I can't divide my days into slots and saying, okay, I'll do 2 hours economics or I'll do 2 hours boards. That doesn't just work for me. For me, it's more about just doing the small tasks you have set for yourself. So for instance, if today I'm attending the school and I have homework for, let's say, 3 subjects, so I just complete the homework for 3 subjects, and then I have free time. In that free time, I do my plat stuff, whatever I have to do. So there was no planning in that sense. There was planning in the sense that I kept track of what I was doing. So every day before sleeping, I had this digital journal and I would just write whatever I did during the day. And I think that really helped me. Like during the pandemic, I was getting very stressed, very anxious, and I was feeling that I'm not doing anything. But then my elder brother suggested that, keeping a journal would help. So every night before sleeping, I would just type on my phone whatever I did that day. So sometimes I would have only 2 entries and I would feel very guilty and ashamed. Okay, I did only two things in the 24 hours. So that would motivate me to do more the next day. And yeah, I think that was kind of it. In terms of study schedule, yeah, I always attended classes. I gave the mock test whenever I had to. So this has been sort of my motto since childhood. People ask, when do you give mock tests? When do you attend classes? I never got that question. The people who are giving you the mock test or the people who are giving you the classes, they're making the schedule for you. Why do you want to waste your energy making a separate schedule? Right, they're giving you the schedule, just follow it. Like if there's a test tomorrow, if you have an economics in school, if you have a political science test tomorrow, why would you want to prepare for history? If the school is telling you that tomorrow you have a political science test, just prepare for it and give it. So I don't believe in making like separate schedules and running along a different tangent where the institution is telling me something else. So yeah, I think that was broadly my study schedule, if you can call it a schedule. Yeah.
Understood. Thank you.
May I now invite Anya Yaduvanshi of 9L to ask her question?
How did you prepare general knowledge, legal reasoning, logical reasoning, and quantitative aptitude sections?
All right. So first of all, since you're just in 9th standard, you don't need to worry about these things. In India, we take entrance exams way too seriously than we should. You're in standard 9. So if this question is particularly by you, just enjoy. And by enjoy, I don't mean don't study, right? My definition of enjoyment is enjoying what you're doing. So when you're attending school, where you're participating in activities, just develop your interests, talk with teachers, cultivate relationships with teachers and friends for standard 9th. But yeah, in terms of the how I prepared for it, so I'm not going to go into the details because that will take a different session altogether. But for those of you who don't know, so CLAT has 5 sections. It has English, logical, legal, GK, and maths, which you also call quantitative aptitude. And it's a 150 marks exam since 2020, with +1 for a right answer, -1/4 for a wrong answer. In terms of how I prepared for it, so obviously I had enrolled myself in the coaching institute, which helped me a little bit. But for CLAT, you have to do a lot of self-work, right? You don't get everything on a platter. In terms of English, logical reasoning, and legal reasoning, it was simply reading and taking mock tests and understanding my weaknesses, just repeating that process again and again, getting all the concepts right. So yeah, CLAT involves a lot of reading. And I can tell you, in law school, every day we have to read like 80 pages before going to class. So yes, if you want to do law, you should love reading. Reading should not be a compulsion for you. Like you should genuinely love reading. I know when you're compelled to read 80 pages, then you stop loving it. But that's beside that. Like you just need to, love reading for you to generally like the law and also crack the CLAT examination. For general knowledge, I used to take daily notes. I also used a flashcards app to sort of memorize whatever I was doing. Like you can look up this is flashcard app called Anki. They use it a lot in abroad, especially in law school and medical school, and it helps you to memorize. So it's a very good tool for memorization. It incorporates what is called active recall and spaced repetition, both of which are scientifically proven methods of remembering things better. So I use that for general knowledge. For maths, the maths in CLAT is very elementary. It's like simply plus minus multiplication division. So I didn't really put a lot of extra effort into it. It was simply taking tests, as I said, and just working on concepts I was weak at. So yeah, that was the broad idea, broad lines long which I prepared.
Thank you. It answers my question.
We now have an intriguing question by Savarni Srivastav of 9F.
How were you motivated? Were you ever distracted from your studies? If so, how did you overcome that?
All right. So I think with regards to motivation, I already answered that question in some part when I was talking about, the reasons behind my core strength. So first is I knew I wanted to do law. Secondly, I had teachers who believed in me. I had a wonderful set of teachers at Artipura, and some of them believed in me more than I believed in myself. So they would say that obviously, Manhar, tumhara nahi hoga to kiska hoga? I'm like, no, ma'am, it's not essay. Like, what are you saying? But yeah, so that then obviously my parents didn't even know what the sections are for CLAT. Like since childhood, they've never interfered into my studies. They did not know what section I was in. They would not know what subjects I had, even though they were doctors. Like it's not that they couldn't understand, right? But they never interfered. So I remember in childhood, like we went to PTMs, and all the moms, they would be like asking syllabus from the teachers and like, okay, teach my child, teach my child. But my mom would be like, teach him how to play, make him usko shararat sikhao thodi si. So yeah, in that sense, it was a very nice atmosphere. I never felt any pressure. And obviously I had a wonderful set of friends, two of them from Arkapuram who are also with me at NLS. So Shruti Jain, who secured AIR 10 in CLAT, and Dareep Nabi, who secured AIR 79. Both of them are with me now at NLS, and one of my other friends from another school. So we prepared together. So that was a motivating factor. In terms of distraction, I'm not sure how to answer that question. So I won't say I was never distracted, but I have never really understood the concept of distraction. I mean, if you want to do something and if you're doing something, then I don't understand how you can be distracted. I mean, I get that sometimes you just feel lazy and like you want to like watch something. So for instance, I would also sometimes randomly just keep scrolling through my phone on YouTube or WhatsApp. Or sometimes I would just not like feel to study. I would open my laptop and I would not, I would go to some other website and things like that. So yeah, in that terms, I was distracted. So I would say two things. One is that sometimes it's okay to be distracted. But when I say it's okay to be distracted, that does not mean that you spend your entire day on something else. But what it means is that sometimes, we just take ourselves too seriously. And it's ironic I am saying it because I do take myself sometimes too seriously. And my friends tell me not to do that. But yeah, sometimes you can give yourself a break. But in terms of generally being distracted, I think, again, you just need to know why you're doing what you're doing. And that will help you. But in terms of like practical techniques, I have never followed them. If you can do them, like generally just keeping your phone away, so it creates a friction. So there's this great YouTube channel you can follow by Ali Abdal. He's a doctor in UK, and he gives this nice productivity techniques. And most of the productivity techniques have come over by people, they don't make sense, but what he says does make sense. So for instance, just keeping your phone away, that, if you feel distracted, you will have to walk up and go, and human beings are inherently lazy, so you will not walk up and go, you will just do your work. So just keeping your phone away, putting it on silent, I don't know, creating a good atmosphere around you, playing some music, yeah, I guess that will help you not be distracted. But the main thing is knowing what you're doing and loving what you're doing. Like that is very important, otherwise all these techniques are not going to work.
Now we have a question by Gaurang Agarwal of 11B.
Yeah. Is someone saying something? I can't hear.
I think Gaurang couldn't be here today. His question was, is social media a distraction when preparing for entrance exams like CLAT?
All right. So again, I'm not the right person to answer this because I've never loved social media. I'm not on social media. I only have WhatsApp and like YouTube and all. I don't have Instagram, Facebook, whatever the other things are. I'm not saying they're bad, but I've just never found the idea of social media fascinating. I find it quite toxic. I think it's unnecessary. So in that sense, I'm not the right person to say, whether it's a distraction. But yes, I have seen my friends. So obviously, social media is a big distraction. Some of them offloaded Instagram when they were in the intensive part of the preparation, so you can consider doing that. But generally, like whatever you do, you can spend time on social media, right? But you have to make sure that you don't exceed a limit. So so there's this feature right on phones now called like time limit or something, so you can limit your time on certain apps. I do that. I always overstep the time limit every day. I say ignore the time limit on my phone when the dialog box pops up. But yeah, I can do that now, right? Because I'm in college now. But for you guys, you can consider using those limits or technology tools. But yeah, generally, I would say like social media has done a lot of damage, not only to academics, but generally, like the way we live, the way we talk, the way we interact, our politics. And I would like just ask you, just consider that for some time, for some moment. So like a lot of you may watch Netflix. There's a great documentary called The Social Dilemma. Just watch that. And you'll realize that social media, even though it has a lot of benefits, obviously it has also brought people together, but in my view it has done more damage than good. So just consider that. I'm not saying you stop social media, but just think what value it is adding to what you're doing, right? So if you're reading a book for 1 hour and if you're just rolling on Instagram for 1 hour, I think you can answer for yourselves what is adding more value to your lives. And especially if you're preparing for an exam like that, the reading is adding much more value than it generally would. So just consider that, and I think you'll get your answer.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
May I now call upon N. Priyamvada of 11W to present her question.
How important is it to read the newspaper on a daily basis? Thank you.
All right. So the short answer is you should read it. Whether it's important or not, don't care. You don't care. You just read it. That's it. Don't think about whether it's important, where is it helping. No. Like people used to read it, our parents used to read it. It's a good habit. Have an English newspaper, the Hindu or Indian Express, read it. If not the entire thing, maybe only the editorials. Now, in terms of how important it is. So I think we waste too much of our time, asking things like how important is this? Should I do this? And less time doing those things. So just do it, right? Like reading a newspaper will not take you more than half an hour or 45 minutes each day. And I'm sure we waste a lot more than 30 minutes every day. So just read a good English standard newspaper on a daily basis. In terms of how it helps, so one is that you, like for CLAT especially, so one is that you become aware of like what's going on, like the GK component of it. So it's not necessarily that newspapers are a great source for making notes. I didn't make notes from the newspapers. I made my notes from like online sources. But reading a newspaper keeps you in touch and it tells you what are the issues going on. So then you can go on and research on those issues, right? That's the first thing. The second thing is it generally helps you with like your reading and your like English and your, like, I don't know, vocabulary. Again, when I say vocabulary, I don't mean that you take out words and start writing the meanings. But if you have the dedication to do that, go ahead. But I didn't do it. What I'm saying is just reading it also enhances your vocabulary, right? Confronting the same issues again and again. So I see a lot of people, like even my batchmates, who are simply unaware of things which are happening around us, right? Like whether in the law or in politics or in the society. So yeah. So just yeah, so in that sense it helps you to be aware. It helps you uh, to gain more proficiency in the language. And yeah, it's a good habit. For that, for those 30 minutes you won't see your phone, so just read the newspaper.
Okay, thank you.
I would like to call upon Amarta Nayan of 11D to present the next question.
What do you think is the most effective strategy for clearing the entrance exam?
All right. So there is no one effective strategy. Everyone has their own different ways. And as I said at the beginning, whatever I say, please take it with a grain of salt. It worked for me, it might or might not work for you. But in terms of the one most important thing for caring, especially the CLAT, is taking mock tests. So even if you don't want to enroll in a coaching institution, just take a test series in class 12th and just give a test on a weekly basis, right? So when you take a mock test, you see whether you were able to manage your time, you see which questions you got wrong, why you got those questions wrong, analyze those questions, see what learnings can you get. So from every mock test, you can get some learnings, right? So when you take a mock test, and then you finish it, you get your score, you just don't leave it at the score, right? You go and see which questions did you do wrong, why did you choose a certain option, why is the right option right, and then you argue on that, and then you understand, oh, all right, in this question I needed to think in a certain way, in this question I had to approach the question from a certain, from a certain prism. So you note down those learnings right after every mock test. So that's the most important thing. Other than that, generally it would be not to neglect any section. All 5 sections are important. Like some people just say, I'm not going to do maths, which is stupid because it's just plus, minus, multiplication, division. So just do everything. Don't think you're too smart and you'll not do anything, or don't think you're too dumb. Both of those are dangerous. So take dual sections, take regular mock tests, make your own notes for GK. If you don't want to make notes, you can use like Anki or something else. Attend your classes, be clear with your concepts, read a lot. Please read fiction, read non-fiction, read autobiographies, whatever you want. I'm not saying you need to read a particular genre, but just read and try to diversify your reading. So like if you're stuck with crime thrillers, please try to read something else, right? Don't just get stuck with one genre and one type of books. So reading, taking mock tests, attending classes, clearing your doubts, yeah, and just being with a set of people who are as motivated as you, right? Who are also taking the CLAT exam. I think that helps a lot, because in CLAT there is no syllabus as such. So sometimes you get disillusioned, right? Sometimes you start questioning yourself whether what I'm doing is right, whether I'm on the right path, and so on. So if you have a set of people who are also doing the same thing as you, that really helps you. So yeah, I think those would be the strategies for clearing the entrance exam. There is no one strategy.
Thank you for answering.
May I now invite Varun Iyer of 11AO to ask his question.
Yes, hi, hello again. When should one start with the CLAT coaching, and what according to you is the importance of self-study in the preparation for the entrance exam?
So yeah, I already answered the first part of the question. I started in 11th, you can start it in 12th. I think 1 year is more than enough. Importance of self-study, yeah, I think as I said, at least the coaching institutes we have now, the competition is increasing, so they might start giving more benefits. But at least in my time, I'm saying in my time as if I'm like 5 years old, like yeah, it's just now. Now they don't give you like everything on a platter, right? They will just tell you like they will give you the mock test, they will give you the material, they will give you like the GK compendiums. You will have a few classes across the week, but then you need to be sure what you're doing for each of the sections. So for instance, GK, right? GK, you need to put in an effort yourself. Mock tests. No one is going to force you to give mock tests. You have to give mock tests. After giving the mock test, the analysis, you have to do the analysis. After the analysis, probably book a doubt session with the faculty, or if there's a provision in your institute to do that, and just discuss those questions with the faculty on in the code session. Then yeah, so like self-study is important. I think most of that is self-study because you don't have a lot of classes, right? So for instance, we had like 6 hours of classes in a week. That's it. So 2 hours on 3 days. That's it. The rest of the time was for us, what we had to do. So yeah, self-study is important for anything, in fact. Yeah.
Next, we have a question by Ritika Tiwari of 9N.
Topping an exam in India with lakhs of people participating is extremely difficult. How do your parents and teachers help you achieve it?
So first of all, in CLAT 2021, there weren't lakhs of people. Only 62,000 people gave the exam. So that's why I'm saying I'm not a great achiever or something. Like I think next week we'll be having like toppers from the NEET and the JE also. I guess I'm not sure, like because this year, like from DPS Arkepuram, we had excellent results. I think they will be able to tell you better because obviously in NEET, like 16 lakh people give the exam, and I'm not sure about the JE. For CLAT, because like people still don't even know about CLAT. Like even in metropolitan cities like Delhi and Mumbai, people don't know. Like the city I come from, I come from Muktsar in Punjab, right? There, before my like the result, no one even knew what was CLAT. And like people who came to interview, they were like, "Sir, हमें कुछ पता नहीं है, आपने क्या किया है? We've just come here, you tell us." So yeah, in terms of that, it's at this moment, it's going to get very competitive because people are becoming more aware. But as of this moment, it's not so competitive in CLAT. Notwithstanding, how my parents and teachers help you, I already told you, right? Parents not putting so much pressure, teachers having confidence in me, standing by me. Yeah, I mean that was how they helped me. Like I've always maintained, right? The teachers are the lifeblood of any institution. If you want to succeed, you have to cultivate relationships with your teachers. And when I say relationships, I mean academic, intellectual relationships, right? So there are teachers from Arkepuram whom I can message if I have a doubt, if I can, like, if I want to discuss, I don't know, a question of political philosophy or something. So just make an effort to do that, right? And yeah, it will serve you well.
I would like to invite Anya Yaduvanshi of 9L to ask her question.
So hi, there are so many LLB courses available in India. How does one make a choice?
All right, before I answer the question, I'm running low on battery. So in case I get logged out, like just give me 2 minutes, I'll log back in, I'll get a power source. Yeah. Again, you're in class 9th. This is not your time to worry about, there are so many LLB courses in India, right? Just read the subjects you love, just develop your interest, find what you love. Like try, like, I don't know, see if you want to take the sciences, the social. See, so one problem with Indians is, and this is not the problem with Indians because of their fault, it's also probably because, you know, we have low income levels and we have this feeling of insecurity. But apart from that, I've seen that we are like we start to reverse engineer. So even I did that, right? So we said, "Acha, aapko banna kya hai?" Oh, you want to become an IS officer. So for an IS officer, you will want a graduation. Acha, graduation के लिए क्या चाहिए? Graduation के लिए you can take humanities, and then we take humanities, which is very stupid. You should not reverse engineer, right? Just do what you love. Just take the subjects you want to study, and then you will find your way. You know, like, take my word for it. If you do what you love, you will find your way. Like, don't try to think of what you want to become and then start to reverse engineer in the process, that the journey you don't like, just for the destination you're sacrificing a journey. Like, that should not be the mindset. But to answer the question, there are not really so many LLB courses in India. I don't know, like, where's this question coming from? So at least after class 12th, you have a 5 years integrated LLB program, and most of the universities offer a BA LLB, that is a Bachelor of Arts and the Bachelor of Laws. So for instance, Bangalore, National Law School, Bangalore, it offers only BA LLB. I think Hyderabad, I'm not sure. But some colleges also offer BBA LLB, which is like commerce subjects. But very few institutions offer that. So you don't need to worry about this question, right? Just take the CLAT exam when you come in 12th, not now, and you will figure it out. You don't need to worry about this question. Like, just leave this question. Yeah.
May I now invite Avani Bhandari of 11B to ask her question?
So I wanted to ask that a lot of people consider CLAT to be a very difficult exam to crack. Do you agree with it?
Yeah, all right. So I may have to log out any moment now. Okay. Anyway, a lot of people consider, yeah. So no, it's not that difficult. As I said, at least at this moment, it's not so competitive. Like only 62,000 people gave it, and there were huge margins. So it's not very difficult. But you know, difficulty also depends on how you view it. I mean, I'm being a little. There's a joke in law school. So every time nowadays we have like a very abstract social science subjects. So we were doing sociology, and like our class started with everything is relative. You don't know anything. So that's the thing you will reconcile with when you study the liberal arts. Anyway, I'm digressing. So no, I mean, it's not really difficult. Like, if you're putting in the effort you need to put in, you will get what you want. I mean, it looks difficult. Yeah, you know, all of this I'm saying in hindsight. I have the benefit of hindsight to say, you know, these big things, don't get disillusioned, don't do this, don't do that. When I know when you're in the journey, you find it very daunting and it's sometimes very frustrating. But I would say just persevere, just keep doing what you're doing. If you're doing something wrong, make course corrections, be in constant touch with faculty and other people who are doing the same thing, and you'll be fine.
Yeah, 1 second, Manhar. I
Yes,
think the
please.
question came from the idea that very few top ranks only get NLUs and all when you
Yeah.
can really go and study there.
Yeah. All right.
So it makes it
So
equally difficult.
yeah, so yeah, in that sense, we have less seats because, as I said, there are very few institutions. So for CLAT, there are only, I think, 22 national law universities in India. Out of those, also, the good national law universities are like the first top 5 or top 10. And yeah, in that sense, it is difficult. Obviously, that's what I said,
Yeah,
right?
that makes it very difficult. So you have to get something, not any rank beyond 150 or 200. You'll not get what you really want.
Yeah, obviously, like if you want Bangalore, then you have to be like the top 80. If you want Hyderabad, I think maybe 150 or 200. So in that sense, it is difficult. But what I'm saying is, like when you're approaching it, don't think like it's difficult or you can't do it, because that would help, right? Just do what you're doing. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks a lot.
No problem.
I would like to call upon Parth Jeff of 11U to present the next question.
What made you so determined to crack the exam? How difficult do you think the preparation period of CLAT is?
All right. What made me so determined? Okay, I think I've answered this multiple times because I wanted to do it because that was my only option. I didn't really have a backup. I didn't know. Like if like sometimes my friends ask me, Ki Manhar, had you not made it to Bangalore or had you not made it, what would you have done? And I said, I don't know. I don't think that's very wise. Maybe you should have a backup. I'm not really sure. So for me, that was the only thing I had to do. That was the only option I had. And also all the other factors, the ecosystem and all those I've talked about. So that made me determined. How difficult do you think the period is? Yeah, I'll agree with this. The period is difficult. It's difficult not because it involves a lot of hard work and everything. It is difficult because there's not a lot to do. And sometimes you feel disillusioned. Like sometimes you feel that I don't know what I'm doing. Like, am I doing the right thing? There are no standard course books you need to follow, right? Sometimes you get a great rank in your mock test, sometimes you don't. So in that sense, it's difficult. But believe me, like again, in hindsight, I think that difficulty is part of the journey. Only if you feel that difficulty will you try to fix yourself. Like if you're just at ease, then you obviously won't do anything, right? So I think just take that in your stride, the difficulty. But yeah, don't get too stressed over it. And yeah, like please keep engaged with school, keep doing their activities. Like I've said that 1 month before the CLAT exam, like I, along with Arib, who's also with me at NLS now, we went for a national level college debate representing the school just 1 month before CLAT, right? And we got the second position. So you don't have to sacrifice everything just for an entrance exam, right? I started learning French. So I always wanted to learn a foreign language, although not making great progress with it. So I downloaded Duolingo on my phone, like just, I don't know, 1 month before CLAT again. And then in February 2020, again before CLAT, I started my blog. I was writing poetry. So keep doing the things you love, right? Like I think there's also a question regarding the English or something. So just keep doing what you love. You don't have to sacrifice everything for one exam.
Thank you, I got it.
Yeah.
Coming up next is a question by Varun Iyer of 11O.
Hi, hello again. How did you plan your day-to-day study for both as well as CLAT?
All right. So this is a question which comes up a lot. How do you balance between boards and CLAT and things like that? Again, I don't think I am the right person to answer that. But okay. So for me, so okay, the first thing is that maybe you need to prioritize a little bit. Like if you know, I don't think this is the best advice, but if you know that CLAT is your main thing, maybe you can pay a little bit more attention to it. But for me at least, even though I knew the CLAT was important for me, but I still never neglected school. And I don't say I neglected boards, because when you reduce schooling to boards, then it's just like you're just working for that one exam. Like that's not the way to see it, right? I would rather put it as a balance between school and your CLAT or your entrance exams rather than boards and CLAT. Because so for example, our batch did not even have the boards, right? Our batch, we didn't have to do the boards, but that doesn't mean that whatever we learned during class 12th went to waste. Not at all. Like in class 12th we learned so much, right? And some of the concepts which we learned, like economics, so in law school also, because it's a BA LLB program, we have economics, right? And a lot of what we're studying now is what we studied in class 12th. So in that sense, like, enjoy the journey of the school. Don't just work for one exam, right? If you learn, if you really enjoy the classes, attend the classes, talk with the teachers, do your homework on time, give your tests, you will automatically do well in boards, right? Okay, in terms of how I plan my day, again, it was like, as I said, right, I would just finish up the work of school, and then I had all the free time, I would do what I have to do for CLAT. So for instance, if today, like, I don't know, my pol science teacher tells me that I need to give a certain test, so I will just give that test, then I'm free, I will do my CLAT stuff. So most of the, say, for humanities, I think, and it applies for a lot of subjects, if you pay attention in class, you don't have to, at least for me, right, again, this will not apply for everyone. If you pay attention to class, if you do your homework on time, if you submit your assignments on time, then you don't have to run a parallel side thing, right? I have never liked tuitions because I find that concept has to be very vague. Like, sometimes I ask people, what chapter are you on? And they don't know the answer, and I'm very surprised, how can you not know the chapter you're doing? Why? The reason is because they're doing something else in the tuition, they're doing something else in their own study schedule, the school is doing something else. I have never liked that concept. Just stay with the school, just stay with what is going on in the class, and you're going to do well. For subjects like maths, where sometimes you have to put a little bit of that extra effort, so for that, you can, like, just say, okay, I'm going to spend 1 hour every day on maths or something like that. Again, I don't work by hours. For me, it was more like, okay, Ritu ma'am has completed integration today. I need to do a certain exercise today. I just need to do it. That's it. If it takes 1 hour, great. If it takes 2 hours, great. I just need to do it. So just have small tasks. Don't work by hours. Just you need to know the tasks you need to do and just do those tasks. And if you have less time, maybe prioritize those tasks. Yeah.
Thank you.
I would like to call upon Parth Jeff of 11U to ask his question.
What kind of recreational or leisure activities did you pursue? How many hours a day or week?
All right, so I'm not going to answer the hours question. I've already said that. Don't work by hours. In terms of recreation leisure activities, I answered that in part. Yes, recreation, leisure, hobbies, whatever you may call it, it's very important. In fact, we should not call them hobbies, because hobbies are something you do, when you're free and you don't value it. You should call them interests. You need to cultivate your interests. They're as important as your main thing, if you can call that the main thing. So in terms of, obviously, I was part of the debating club. I was a senior member, so I helped my juniors, like your seniors, the class 12 people who are now heading the debating club. So we sort of trained them. We had sessions with them, which was really fun. I participated in debates. So I went to Vasant Valley, then I went to Rahat. Then in terms of class discussion, so we had, like, I told you, right? So we had like this intra-school activities. I organized an essay competition on behalf of the political science department. Then yeah, like, then we had this maths competition. Okay.
All right, thank you.
I think Manhar logged out now.
Yes,
He'll be
ma'am. He'll be
joining
joining
back.
back in a
Yes,
minute.
yes, yes.
No problem, no problem. Manhar is just joining back, kids. Just give him 2 minutes.
Hi, am I audible?
Yes, yes, you're
Yeah,
audible.
I'm speaking a little faintly because I'm in the library, but you're audible, right? Sorry, I'm audible, right?
Yes, you are.
All right. Sorry. Yeah, sorry for the inconvenience. Where I was sitting, I didn't have a power source, so I had to move. Yes. So, all right. Yeah. So I was saying, yeah. So yeah, organizing activities for the school. So we organized an essay writing competition for the Pol Science Club. Then we had moot courts. Yeah. So we started I think it was our batch. I can proudly say that we started this. For those of you who have in legal studies, you might know that. So we didn't really have moot court of the culture of moot courts before, but we started that when we were in 12th. So we started organizing moot courts for the legal studies for the law firm. Then personally, I like writing, I like reading, so I write a lot of books during the pandemic. I'm usually miserly, I don't spend money, but during the pandemic, I spent a lot of money on books. So I would order books, I would read them. Then writing, I liked writing, so as I said, I started a blog. Although I haven't posted on the blog for 2 months because I'm out of ideas. But yes, I started a blog, so I started posting my poetry on the blog. I started writing, I don't know, political commentaries, book reviews, etc. on the blog. So those are my recreation activities. Yes, there is a sport missing. My parents scold me for it. I'm not physically very fit. You should also have a sport if you can do that. Yeah.
All right, thank you.
I would like to call upon Ronika Agnihotri of 11S to ask her question.
Who was the support system to ease your stress and how did it help?
All right, I've answered already on this about my parents, teachers, friends, etc. But also in terms of books. So, I have realized that books almost have a therapeutic effect on me. Like, I love this quote that make a book your friend and the library your home, you will never be alone. And it may not work for everyone, but for me, books just calm me down. Books were a great, and when I say books, I don't mean textbooks, I mean fiction or whatever, novels, whatever kind of books you like. And it is different for different people. I know this is not really answering the question about the support system, but I'm just trying to fit something in because I've already answered that, and this might also add some value. So some of my friends, for instance, Arif, for him, football is kind of a calming factor, right? So whenever he's stressed, he just goes out to play football. For some people, it's music. For some people, it's dance. So just find like what calms you down, what lightens your spirits, right? What motivates you. And yeah, and just keep in touch with that. Don't sacrifice it. Don't say, okay, I have an entrance exam, I'm going to just do that. Especially for CLAT, I can't speak for like JEE and NEET because I know they're very, very intensive preparation exams. But at least for CLAT, it's also about how you develop your personality, right? Because I've seen a lot of people who have cleared CLAT and who are my batchmates, but because they never really invested in their interests, right? Probably they didn't have the infrastructure. I'm not blaming them. They lack confidence in law school, right? In classes, when we have discussions, they're kind of lost. So that's why when you ask the engineering question, right, I said that you first need to sit down and see if you really want to do the thing, right? CLAT is just one exam. After that, you have to spend 5 years at law school. And as I said, right, there are certain skills and certain things which are so ingrained in the curriculum of law school that you need to enjoy them if you want to really, if you really want to do the course. You're just not doing the course just for the sake of it. So whether it's reading, whether it's, I don't know, arguing, whether it's speaking, whether it's thinking critically, all of these things are very fundamental to the study and the practice of law. So yes, yeah, I think that, I hope that answers the question. I digressed a little bit, but yes.
Yeah, thank you.
No problem.
Last but not the least, we have a question by Ritika Tiwari of 9N.
You have been the head boy of a school and have also been closely involved with various clubs of the school, participating in several competitions enthusiastically. We all know that this requires tireless and consistent hard work. How do you think this has helped in grooming your personality?
All right. So I think this is one of my favorite questions of the day. If okay, I don't want to like self promote or anything, but just after the CLAT exam, I posted on my blog. I wrote a post called Metamorphosis, and metamorphosis, as you know, simply means change. And I wrote about how these 2 years in DPS Archipuram really transformed me as a personality, really transformed me as an individual, right? And I owe a lot to the school. So yeah, so what I was saying is, so I'll just read a couple of lines from the post which I posted. I think that will answer the question. So I written, I've grown in confidence. I know a lot more about the world and the disciplines that I chose. I've gained a sense of purpose and discovered my interests. My thought process has evolved in that I have developed a sense of inquiry and skepticism. My debating skills have improved by leaps and bounds. The way I interact with friends and talk about relationships, which I would not have even imagined before, has undergone a sea change. In short, these were some of the best years of my life. And I'm saying that not just right because I was made the head boy. I think, like this question's asked, right? I think head boy was not a cause for me doing anything, but it was a recognition. Not that I contributed. No, don't mistake me. I think, you guys don't have the luxury of having Miss Nagalakshmi. She was one of our reps in class 11th. And, once she said to me that, Manhar, Arkepuram gives you everything you need, right? It gives you the opportunities, it gives you the ecosystem, but it falls on you what you make of those opportunities. And without being presumptuous, I think the reason I was considered for the post of the head boy was that I tried my best to make use of these opportunities, right? Maybe I didn't succeed in all of them, right? Maybe I could have done a lot more, but I used the opportunities which were given to me. So that is the thing about Archipel. Like, you have the community, you have the class, you have the teachers. If you just go to it like a normal school and just attend the classes and be like, okay, I have to give the boards only, I can just read from a study guide. Okay, then that will end there. But if you just give me a second. Yeah, all right, I'm in a public space. Yeah, where was I? Yeah, so it gives you all the opportunities, and it falls on you what you want to do with it, right? So in terms of what I learned, so one was confidence, right? I came from a small city in Punjab, and the way I speak English, the way I'm speaking confidently now, I couldn't have spoken that way had it not been for Archipel, right? The way I think, reasoning, argumentation, that is something I really ingrained in our political science, legal studies classes in school, right? Um, we had this culture of debate and discussion, which is very, very important for the liberal arts. I'm not sure if I'm able to relate to the people, the people who study the sciences and commerce are able to relate to me, but at least for those who pursue the humanities, um, this culture of debate and discussion, and intellectual argumentation is very important. Then leadership, in terms of how, I was a senior member of DevSoc, so I helped, with that. So all those things, really really shaped my personality. And I think one thing I noted, when Padma ma'am said in the introduction, how I need to tell you about how to take charge. I think that is very important, especially when you come to class 11th, right? You mature. You're expected to take charge of your own lives. And when I say take charge, that does not mean, like an American, you run out of home and you build your own apartment, all of those things. No, family is important. I know family is very important to me personally. But when I say take charge, it means that knowing what you want to do, right? And even if you don't know, making an attempt to know what you want to do, right? Taking decisions, investing in again interests, investing in relationships, relationships of all kinds, whether it's personal, whether it's academic. So yeah, you need to take charge of your own life. So the school cannot keep policing you around, right? The school will not tell you that, look, you have to participate in one club activity. No, that's your decision, right? If you want, you can participate in 0. If you want, you can participate in 5. Like, it falls to you to take decisions, make choices, and then, justify and respect those choices. I think the word respect is very important for me. And respect simply does not mean just saying good morning or saying sir and ma'am. Obviously, it includes that. But respect is also something very internal. So you respect your effort. You respect the effort put in by others. You respect the institution. You respect the principles of the institution. You respect um, the idea behind any subject, right? So when you're in a pol science class, you cannot be fanatical, right? You cannot be rigid, right? You have to have respect for the subject. So yeah, I think, yeah, I spoke a lot, but yeah, so I think Deepesh Harpur has played an irreplaceable role in grooming my personality.
Thank you.
With this, we conclude the Q&A session. I would now like to invite our respected Vice Principal Anil Kathuria sir to deliver the vote of thanks.
Good morning. Yes, first of all, I would like to thank our principal, Ms. Padma Srinivasan, to giving us the opportunities to organize such programs from which the students get first-hand experience, the live experience of organizing such guest speaker programs. Of course, you can read books, you can go through the articles and all that, but listening from somebody who has the first-hand experience means a lot. It leaves a great impact. That's what I feel. I would like to thank Manhar Bansal, our own student, for sparing time. And even if he will sometimes refuse, we may organize such programs because a lot of students get benefit from that. Thank you, Manhar Bansal, for giving your suggestions and the experience which you had with us in the school, with teachers, with your colleagues and all. I hope that from which these students will be benefited and start planning accordingly. Just stick to the basics and do your work. I would like to thank the coordinators of the program, Ms. Archana Deepak and Ms. Shelly Jolie. Not only those with their team of students, Divyansh, Suhani Vats, Samyak Kapoor, Sahana Agrawal, and Sneha Chandra. I would also like to thank the technical team behind that. The students made such a great presentation and well coordinated. And in the end, I would also like to thank all the panelists and the students for joining this guest speaker program. And I hope that the students of 9th and 11th are there. They can take the benefit, start planning right now. And I was impressed by some of the questions from class 9 students. Yes, thinking too early. Sometimes we feel, but still, if they are thinking of their future and getting benefits from the students like Manhar, getting interacted with them, that starts impacting at the early age. And I'm sure that one of you can be the next topper from our school only, from CLAT, for this CLAT. Thank you very much. Thank you, Manhar, once again. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir, for your inspiring words. With this, we come to the end of this session. I would like to leave you with this quote by Vince Lombardi Jr. The difference between a successful person and others is not a lack of strength, not a lack of knowledge, but rather a lack of will. Thank you everyone for joining us today. It was a pleasure having you with us. You all may now exit the webinar.
Thank you.